Good morning, metalheads of the internet, and welcome to a brand new episode of the Metal Meltdown. Today we are talking about a brand new studio album, a sophomore album, in fact, from Vane FM. Originally, I was going to talk about the new Crowbar album, but I figured, you know what, these guys, they are sludge metal, heavy metal icons, gods, goats. They don't need the publicity. They'll be doing just fine without my stamp of approval. So why not talk about a young band doing something new and cool? I certainly don't see any reason not to talk about Vane FM unless, I don't know, a stuffed crocodile is willing to interrupt me right now. Oh, hi, Chompy. Hi. What's going on, buddy? What's going on? What are you doing here? What's something on your mind? Tell me, what's going on? What? Vane FM did what? Okay, wow. So I guess we're not talking about them. Thanks for the heads up, Chompy. You really saved my ass there. So, Crowbar then? Yeah, Crowbar. Fuck it. Let's talk about Crowbar. Zero and Below is the 12th studio album from New Orleans sludge metal, doom metal, heavy metal crew Crowbar. They've been kicking around since the early 90s, alongside Corrosion of Conformity and Down and Acid Bath and I Hate God. They are responsible for the development not only of the New Orleans metal scene, but of sludge metal as a whole. This is also the first thing that Crowbar have released in about 6 years, and the first thing that Crowbar have released since Kirk Weinstein, the band's mastermind, released a solo album in January of 2020, Dream in Motion, which I unironically think is one of the best, or at the very least, one of the most interesting and ambitious things that Kirk has released with any project in any capacity. It was a very somber, melancholic, and introspective record for Kirk. Riffs were not the priority. Being honest, emotional vulnerability, and brutality, that was the priority. And as a result, that record reminded me more so of a Pallbearer record than your typical Crowbar record. I remember thinking at the time when that album came out, damn, imagine what Crowbar could accomplish if some of these ideas and some of these elements were implemented further into Crowbar's sound. And as a result, I won't lie, I was initially let down by the more straightforward kind of heavy metal, sludge metal approach of Zero and Below. But despite that, I'm finding it genuinely hard to really complain and nitpick because, my fucking lord, if you're just gonna give me a fucking fistful of riffs, this is how you fucking do it. I mean, from start to finish, this thing just throws big, brutal, crunchy, sludgy, oppressive riffs directly at you, with full force, with genuine malice. Her Evil is Sacred, for instance, throws some super angular, twisted, vintage doom and sludge metal riffery at you. I love the way it whines and bends. I love how gross it is. You can feel bog water and sweat dripping off of this thing. There's also Chemical Gods, which serves up some pretty beefy, bouncy, chewy, raucous grooves reminiscent of Master of Reality era Black Sabbath, albeit here deep-fried and smothered in some kind of super spicy, fucked-up sauce. The super crisp and crunchy production, coupled with some of the twin guitar stuff near the end, even reminds me of a more modern doom metal band like Chemist. Speaking of modern doom metal, It's Always Worth the Gain feels like Crowbar's answer to a track like Cloak of Feathers from The Sword, rocking some thunderous percussion, some more straightforward kind of hard rock proto-metal riffery with some sludgy chaos embedded all around. And then there's Bleeding from Every Hole, which might be my favorite cut on the record. I really like how it contrasts these super heavy, sludgy breakdowns with some more straightforward kind of hardcore punk, crossover thrash savagery. It's a pretty close call, though, between this and the album's title track, Zero and Below, which also closes out the album. This track, in comparison to the majority of the album, is a little bit more evocative. It's darker lyrically, and I think it does have some more emotive hooks and howls from Kirk Weinstein. There's a part of me that thinks that at some point this could have been on Dream in Motion, and perhaps it was cut off and simply restructured to function and to play out more like your typical Crowbar song for this album. While there are tracks I do enjoy more so than others, there's nothing on this record that I would consider a genuine dud, nothing I would call filler, nothing I would say is inessential that the record could do without, and at 42 minutes long with 10 tracks, it's really punchy and consistent, it gets straight to the fucking point, doesn't waste any fucking time. I love that. That's always great to see. I can picture people taking issue with Kirk's vocals on this album. He's never had like a traditionally great or huge voice. You know, he's not exactly on par with somebody like Rob Halford or Bruce Dickinson or Mike Patton or somebody like that. But even by his standards, this is a pretty rough performance. I don't know for sure if Kirk is a really heavy smoker, but if you told me he was, I might believe you after having heard this album. But I don't know, man. There's so much character and body to his voice. Like, he sounds so anguished and so pissed off and so bitter, and it makes for maybe not the prettiest vocal performance ever, but a very effective one nonetheless. Especially so on a doomier cut like Denial of the Truth, or a more evocative cut like the aforementioned title track Zero and Below. I'm honestly going to give this a 4 out of 5. I think this is a great record. I thoroughly enjoyed this album from start to finish. These guys are playing their fucking hearts out, doing what they fucking do best. I love the production of this record, the sound mix. I love how crunchy and crispy the guitars are. I love how sweaty and dirty the album as a whole feels. Crowbar ain't exactly reinventing the NOLA heavy metal, sludge metal, doom metal wheel with this record, but I don't think they're trying to, and that wheel is moving so fucking smoothly, it ain't never looked no better, in not for a while. It's fucking great. It'll do fine. Leave it alone. If you don't like Crowbar, I don't think this record would do anything to change your mind, but if you are a longtime fan, I think you'll be absolutely elated with every single second of this record. I don't have much more to say, so let's just wrap this fucker up. 4 out of 5. It's a fucking great record. Riffs for days. Enjoy. And that is it for the Metal Meltdown. I'm not an expert, nor do I claim to be, so what do you think? Do you like this record? Do you not like this record? And what do you want to hear from me next? And thank you for watching. Make sure you press subscribe right here so you get updates on the Metal Meltdown fucking immediately. And as always, you have yourself a fantastic fucking day.